Your brother, your friend, your dietitian, back again for another installment in spirit, nutrition. I'm out here in LA and it's very misty and there's like misty rain droplets falling on my head. The rain keeps falling on my head. Why we should read a book a day. A continuation of the 16 videos challenge. Let's get it popping. So why a book a day? Not a book a day. I wish you read a book a week. So why a book a week? I first came across the idea of reading a book a week from the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Shout out to Marcus Garvey. His birthday just passed in August, I believe it's August 17th. But shout out to Marcus Garvey, changed the game. But he wrote a section in one of his books, and it was called Universal Learning, meaning you should always learn, and you should learn universally, meaning you should learn about all types of topics, as many topics as you possibly can. So he said that you should be reading at least a book a week, or reading upwards of 4 hours a day. Some people may think that's extreme, reading 4 hours a day. Some people may not. The average American household has television playing in the household for 4 hours a day. So let's just put that into perspective. But why a book a week? He said that if you read a book a week, that's 4 books a month, and 52 books in a year. Now, the only difference between a man who can read and doesn't read and a man who doesn't know how to read is that there is no difference. One is willed ignorance. The man who can read but does not read chose his ignorance, and the man who is illiterate is just illiterate. But you're not separated in knowledge from the man who is illiterate and the man and yourself, because you guys both aren't absorbing knowledge through reading. He stated that in a year's time you will be 52 books ahead of the man who didn't read. So imagine 2 men, 2 women in the exact same field. The first man and woman, they read a book a week. Their value in knowledge is increasing week by week, month by month, year by year. Whereas the same individuals in their same fields, woman number 2 and man number 2, I should say, they are not increasing their idea consumption, their value through the knowledge obtained. One interesting thing about books and reading, how important it is that a man can accumulate the knowledge he's received in a lifetime, or a 20-year span, a 10-year span, a 30-year span, and condense it into a book that is below 400 pages. That's 200 pages. That's 250. That's 270. And so in a week, you can get a man's knowledge and experience that he's acquired over 20 years' time. Books are like cheat codes. Books should be, one of my homies used to say, and he still says, books should be more expensive. Why? Books should be more expensive because they're like cheat codes. Any knowledge that you want to become successful, you could go and find in books. And if it's not in books, it's in audio programs, it's in self-development programs, it's on the internet and ebooks now. So reading is cliche to say, but it's fundamental. So now, in 2 years, you're 104 books ahead of the man who doesn't read. Now, in 3 years, you're 156 books ahead of the woman who didn't read. But why is it so important to read? a book a week? Well, reading a book a week is important because ideas augment situations. Knowledge changes situation. Information changes situations. So you can find yourself in a predicament like me. I'll give you an example. I got into real estate, right? Purchasing properties, buying them, fixing them, renting them out. But I was hitting roadblocks until I read a book called Nothing Down in the 2000s. And the information from the book taught me how to purchase homes with no money out of my pocket. Whereas before I was struggling to save and pinch pennies. I'm still saving, but I was struggling to save up the amass the down payment. I learned methodologies to get down payments, nothing down, no money out of my pocket. No, not scams, not illegal ways, but legal, savvy ways, creative ways of finance. So an idea can change your reality. So that's why reading is important. Another thing about reading, how it's a cheat code, is somebody that's in the ghetto, somebody that's in the favela, somebody that's in that barrio, somebody that's in, the slums in India. If they could get access to literacy, if they could learn how to read, they could study Warren Buffett, they could study Elon Musk, they could study the great ones of history, Nehru, right? They could study about Toussaint Louverture. They could study about, Mansa Musa. They could study about Hannibal Barca. They could study about, the list goes on. So when you read a book, you sit down and you sit in counsel with the man or woman who wrote the book. So now you have the ideas of that man, that woman, and that person could be a millionaire. That person could be a huge philosopher. And you're sitting in counsel with them. Like my last video, I was talking about the Dhammapada. I used to read that as a youth. When my mother passed away and my life kind of spiraled out of control for myself and my siblings, I used to read Sufism, a lot of Buddhism, a lot of Islam, a lot of different texts that were spiritual and holy because it helped me through life. Reading is massive. Now, another thing about reading a book a week is it's actually pretty crazy because you can obtain, say a book costs you, for example, $3. There's a difference between cost and worth, right? So cost and worth are different. A book may cost you $3, but it could be worth $1 million, or it could be priceless, because there's books on how to improve your relationship with your children, how to improve your marriage, how to become a better man, how to practice sex, how to achieve orgasm. So it could have a huge effect on your life. So it's almost like planting 5 seeds and getting 500 seeds back. That's the beauty in books. Not only does it transmit ideas and things like that, but it gives you a lot of worth, a lot of value. There's a book that I purchased and I love, I still read it all the time, is Black Folks Guide to Making Big Money in America. I bought that book a while ago. It only cost me $20, but it's proven itself to be worth over $200,000 because that book led me to find the book Nothing Down in the 2000s. So I was able to purchase real estate, Nothing Down. So it opened up doors for me. Now it's going to allow me to purchase more real estate that's going to be worth in the millions. So the book only cost me $20, but it's worth over $1 million to me. That's the beauty in reading books. Another thing my father used to always say is that small minds talk about people. Average minds talk about events, but great minds, they talk about ideas. And books are full of ideas, and books are our best companions. So that's why we should read more books. But the question is how? How do we start reading a book a week? Well, my suggestion is just focus on reading every day. And also focus on kindling your interest in reading. Because I know when I force myself trying to say, okay, I'm going to read a book a week, I fall off, I slack because I feel forced. I feel anxiety from trying to reach this forced goal. But if you set a theme in your life and say, I'm going to read more, I'm going to enjoy more reading when I have downtime, when I have extra minutes while I'm on the train, or when I'm waiting in line in Starbucks. I'm gonna pull out a quick book. You create the habit of reading. Also, you cultivate the love of reading. Cultivate the love of reading a book a week. Or cultivate the love of reading books, and you cultivate reading a book a week, because reading also calms you. It slows the breathing patterns. It gets your brain into a certain wavelength. You know what I mean? There's alpha waves, beta waves, and so you just be waving, you just be smooth, like, you know what I'm saying? So you just gotta, you get into your breathing slows down, your heart rate slows down, you get calmer. It's like a form of meditation. So for me, what's helped me is not focusing so much on gotta read, but now saying, all right, let's slow up and let's just enjoy the process. Let me read what I'm curious about, and start off with small texts, start off with small books, and then build from there. So reading is it's amazing. And one of my mentors, Jim Rohn, he says that in your spare time you should be studying. You should be reading between a book or two a week. Knowledge is to the brain what food is to the body. So if you stop reading or studying once you get your law degree, if you stop reading or studying once you graduate from high school, you never read a book again, your mind is going to be like a wasteland. It's going to be a desert, because you're not putting any food into it. You're not putting any ideas into it. And as you put in ideas, you shrink ignorance. The world is full of ignorant people, ideas, therefore institutions, religions, belief systems. Wars are caused because of ignorance. Ignorance causes division, which causes wars. Ignorance causes poverty. That's another thing. I need to get into that just briefly after I get into this. More knowledge, you're more open-minded. So now when I talk to somebody, I try and expand my knowledge to the point where anybody I talk to in the street, I know the capital of the country we're talking about or that they're from. I know a little bit of history about the country that they're talking about. So now I can connect with them on a visceral level. I talked to a sister from the Congo. She says, I'm from the Congo. I was like, oh. She says she's from Africa. But what country? I know you're from Africa. Oh, you wouldn't know about it. It's called the Congo. I'm like, man, of course I know the Congo. You speak Lingala? She was speaking French to her children. I'm like, why are you speaking French to your children? If you from Congo, you're supposed to be speaking Lingala. I know that the French colonized and conquered down there, but what I'm saying is, let's speak your indigenous tongue. And she smiled, because she's like, you know about Lingala? But when you have universal knowledge, you can connect with people. Another thing is, one of my mentors, Tahuti Ma'ara, he's an herbalist out in LA. He said that there's two things you can't be in America: indigent, which means poor, and ignorant, which means ignorant. So ignorance in your knowledge level will determine your wealth level. So it's been shown in statistics that the more knowledge the more education you have, the more money you make. And so if you're ignorant, you're going to be poor. Basically, it's just given. You can't be mentally poor or financially poor. But if you're financially poor and mentally poor, you assed out, man. You assed out. In America and any other country, you're gonna be manipulated, abused, dominated, exploited. You're gonna have a tough life. Jim Rohn said, a standard education will get you a standard income. A standard education will get you a standard income. But an extraordinary education will get you an extraordinary income. He said, with a normal education, meaning a bachelor's degree, a associate's degree, a medical degree, a law degree, a nutrition degree, that can make you a living, but a self-education will make you a fortune. Self-education helps with critical thinking. It helps with so much. That's why we should read a book a week. The world's greatest leaders, Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett in business, in religion. You have Yeshua, the Prophet Isa, Jesus. He used to study the ancient texts. Buddha studied the ancient texts. different leaders in different fields. They're always reading massive amounts of books. Elon Musk. We have to read more literature. To change your people's thoughts, you must change their literature. Noble Ali. So, your brother, your friend, your dietitian, back again for another installment. A lot of people who have started to read changed their lives. They changed their lives. From Frederick Douglass to Malcolm X to Elon Musk to anyone else that you know, reading has changed the game for them. Your brother, your friend, your dietitian, back again for another installment in spirit, nutrition, out in the midst. I'm about to break the barrier. I think I'm almost at 1,700 subscribers. My short-term goal is to get to 2K subscribers, but the goal is to produce valuable videos for mi gente, para mi gente, for my people. Bless up.